This is Medical Entomology, Group 8 with a breaking report. I'm entomology doctor student Hunter Gurley.
And I am CDC entomologist Braden Kester. A new disease has been discovered in North America near the US-Canadian border. A scientific research took place in order to discover the vector, the reservoir of the disease agent, and how to stop it.
After sorting through multiple possible vectors from patient and doctor accounts, with the exception of Disney Schneider, who did not come into contact with any insect, we found three final vectors: Dermacentor variabilis, the American dog tick; Simulum glessi, a species of black fly; and Aedes sollicitans, the eastern salt marsh mosquito.
We finally determined that our vector is Simulum regosuli because all of the patients interacted with it.
This is a black fly from the order Diptera, or the true fly order. They are a whole metabolist species, meaning they go from egg to larva to pupa to adult.
The black fly life cycle starts as an oval-shaped egg that is laid in water, often in slow-moving streams. These will hatch in 4 to 30 days.
The larva uses what is known as an egg burster on its head to break open the egg. This larva is a filter feeder using labile fans to sweep small particles from the water. These larvae do not spread any pathogen as they do not feed on an animal. These will last 1 to 6 months.
Once the larva is mature, as shown by the dark hyloclasts, they will pupate.
Surrounded by a silk cocoon held together by small hooklets, these pupae will last 4 to 7 days.
And this is an artist's rendition of what the black flies look like whenever they are emerging from the river. Their body is small, but thick with 2 C's, with an arched thorax containing a single pair of wings. As per their name, black flies are mostly black with some other possible colorations added on.
Males and females vary slightly. Females will have smaller eyes and their mouth parts contain serrated mandible and lacinae. Males are not blood feeders and do not have these parts specially modified. They feed on nectar. Females will also have Lutz organ used to detect carbon dioxide emissions from host animals.
Focusing on females because they require a blood meal to produce their eggs. They use their mouth parts to lacerate and pierce the skin in order to access their blood meal, which is most likely where the disease will be spread.
Simulum glessi prefer feeding on young waterfowl. However, in the absence of specific hosts, they will also feed on any mammals near the water's edge. They prefer to live near canopy vegetation near the banks of a river or stream, and they can travel up to 15 miles away from their rivers.
Black flies' density increases with altitude up to 1,500 meters, and they are more prevalent during colder seasons.
If you live near rivers or below that altitude, you are at high risk of being a human host.
This disease does not discriminate on who it affects. People of any race, gender, and age can get the disease. It kills not only the men, but the women and children too.
Because this is vector-borne, it can affect people of any age who come into contact with it via black fly. People most at risk for it are people who live near naturally occurring waterways or live in areas near goats.
The black flies that spread the disease breed naturally at a flowing water. Anyone who stays outside a 15-mile radius of waterways will likely never come in contact with the disease.
These are the locations of our known patients. However, goats are actually the reservoir of the disease, so anybody who comes into contact with goats in the northern United States or southern Canada are at risk.
This disease has a broad geographical range in southern Canada and northern United States. Canada has reported cases in Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. Northern states at risk are Washington, Idaho, Montana, North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Washington, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and all states north of Pennsylvania.
Major symptoms of this disease are that the bacteria can cause myelitis. Myelitis is just a fancy word meaning that your spinal cord has become inflamed.
The symptoms include general flu-like symptoms, which are nausea, fever, aches, chilling, and this is just the body's response to the bacteria rather than the damage to the myelin. The disease progresses and starts messing with the body's nervous system.
This will commonly turn into acute muscular pain, lack of plantar reflexes, atonia in the lower limbs, and bladder dysfunction. Less commonly, this will progress to paralysis of the lower limbs and a coma. This infection and disease will lead to death if untreated in most cases.
We believe that Christian Riggs is patient 0. His driver's license number is 869-00858, and his social security number is 420-696133. He recently returned to Canada, working closely with animals in Yemen for 2 years. He was admitted to the hospital on April 11th and unfortunately died on April 15th.
Goats are already known as a common reservoir for different diseases known as Q fever. This makes them possible reservoirs for our new disease, and they are likely caused because our patient 0 worked closely with goats.
Domestic goats are found all over the world, but mountain goats tend to be found in areas with extreme temperatures near Canada and the northern United States. Most mountain goats are found in the Rocky Mountains, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, and Alberta.
In North America, there are up to 110,000 individuals between the native and non-native populations. Female goats with kids have a home range of up to 25 square kilometers, while males have a home range of 5 to 6 square kilometers. Mountain goats tend to move to lower elevations during the winter months, when their movements tend to drop to conserve energy.
Goats are also found commonly in petting zoos, treated as outdoor pets, or are used for the production of milk. This results in the common interaction between humans and goats and allows the disease to spread. They are able to live peacefully with other animals in the pasture, which allows other animals to be infected with the disease as dead-end hosts.
Goat milk production in Canada has also increased in the past decade, with the majority of growth seen in Ontario between 2001 and 2016. Overall goat numbers have increased in that time period from 183,000 to 230,000 head. A plentiful goat population allows for easier spread of this disease.
Black flies are known to attack humans and livestock, including goats, which would be able to spread the disease. Goats that roam near the water's edge would be susceptible to bites from female black flies looking for a blood meal. During feeding, the females would be able to transmit pathogens.
Our pathogen, or disease agent, we discovered is in the order Bacillus, family Bacillinae, general Amphibacterius, and its species unknown. So we have dubbed it the gotiackiller.
So the scientific name of this disease is Bacillus gotiackiller, and the genome size for this disease is 4.49 megabytes.
Based on the gram stain, the purple color indicates that it is a gram-positive bacteria. If it was gram-negative, the gram stain would have been pinkish in color.
By looking at scanning electron microscopy, the bacteria is rod-shaped.
Based on the Schaffer or Fulton strain, the green circles indicate that the bacteria has the ability to form endospores.
According to the semi-solid medium, the bacteria did not grow and they are non-motile.
After performing the catalase test, the bacteria did not produce catalase because it does not double when adding hydrogen peroxide.
And based on the gelatin nutrient agar, the zone around the bacteria indicates that the bacteria hydrolyzed gelatin.
From here, we use an assay of possible reservoirs, including our goats, and possible vectors, including the black flies. This is how we determine that the identity of goats as the reservoir and that black flies are the vector. Both black flies and goats tested positive for this new species of bacteria under the genus Bacillus.
The bacteria can migrate to the spinal column and spinal fluid and cause inflammation of the upper spinal cord known as myelitis. This disease will occur in both the reservoir goats and dead-end human hosts.
However, myelitis most commonly onsets with human victims between 10 and 20 and in victims aged 30 to 40 years old.
This disease causes damage to the myelin sheath of your nerve cells. The myelin is the elongated fatty insulation that wraps around your nerve cells.
It allows individual cells to have the electrical charges needed for movement. The myelin damage is mostly concentrated in the upper spinal cord, as previously stated, meaning that everything below this area is affected by the disease. So the only thing this disease does not affect is your ability to complain about, and there's a lot to complain about.
And we want to stop the disease to help the public health of the United States.
We plan to break the link we plan to break all the links, but our primary link is between the vector and host, since the vector will not be able to emerge into the correct life stage that is required to transmit the disease to other animals.
Of the options available for targeting the black fly larvae in bodies of water, we chose treatment with liquid containing the bacteria Thuringiensis israeliosis, which will be distributed in tanker trucks and deposited in bodies of water using hoses that are connected to the trucks. We are avoiding spraying because the bacteria being sprayed into the atmosphere can cause complaints from the public about damage, and it can harm other insect populations. The bacteria create a substance called insecticidal crystalline proteins that kill black fly larvae before they reach adulthood.
Bacillus thuringiensis israelis has been shown to be non-toxic to mammals. In labs, the spores, while shown to persist for weeks in test animals, had no adverse effects. The Bacillus thuringiensis israelis is also non-toxic to humans and fish.
To break the link between the reservoir and vector, the owners of currently infected goats will be required to be kept indoors until the black fly population is eradicated. However, these animals will need to be tested for the disease even after the black fly population has been eradicated if the owners intend to use the animals for meat production, or the infected goats can be euthanized.
To break the link between the pathogen and the reservoir, a vaccine has been developed for the disease that we will provide for free in a mandatory vaccination program for goat owners. If the owners wish to avoid vaccination, they can euthanize their animals that have tested positive for the disease, as they cannot be sold to humans or used for milk production.
CDC workers will work to vaccinate the goats and will ensure that all goats are vaccinated or taken care of properly.
Because humans are a dead-end host for the disease, currently infected humans should receive proper supportive care. But interactions between infected animals and black flies, or infected humans and black flies, does not risk further spread of the disease.
To monitor the success of our plan, traps will be utilized to observe the number of living adult black flies. As expert entomologists, our CDC team will be in charge of installing and monitoring traps in order to ensure that the monitoring is done with the highest level of control. Individual investigators will be in charge of certain regions that our team can cover once all the traps are placed. These traps will be checked once a week in order to observe the emerging fly populations. All insects collected will be identified by our team.
The traps will be placed within a 15-mile radius of waterways that were treated with Pharyngitis. Traps will be set up immediately after treating waterways with the biological control agent. The first week of trapping will establish a baseline number for the number of our black fly adults that exist in that specific area prior to treatment.
The trapping protocol will involve the Esperanza window trap that was utilized, which utilizes chemical lures and carbon dioxide. This trap is being used because it was specifically designed for the collection of black flies and has been proven to be effective in their capture.
We predict that at the end of our first month of treatment, there should be a significant decrease in the number of adult flies caught due to the lifespan of the adult vector being only 2 to 3 weeks. A drop to little or no adult black flies indicates that no new adults have emerged from the larval stage and the disease control has been effective.
The trapping can continue for longer than a month to monitor the longevity of the T. israelis' effectiveness. If there is a sudden increase in the number of black flies emerging, then reapplication of the biological vector will be needed.
We will request the permission of local governments to treat their waterways. However, before asking permission, we will also provide information to governments and anyone who wishes to require it.
With regards to concern with environmental groups, we will explain that our treatment will be directly targeted on the waterways. While this will cause a temporary reduction in the mosquito populations, insectivores will still be able to feed on terrestrial insects.
We predict that there will be significantly fewer cases of Bacillus gotiackiller. We hope the black fly population will be down to 30% of the pre-conto population within 1 month, since the lifespan of black flies is only 2 to 3 weeks once it becomes an adult.
For more information, please consult our website at this web address.
This website will also be posted in the description of this video.
Thank you.